Assalamu alaikum. I am your teacher Amna, and today the topic is components of communication, and the subject is composition writing. The basic purpose of this subject is to make you able to learn the basic strategies of writing or communication skills that will make you able to excel not only academically but in a professional life as well. So being the students of language, it is very important for you people to communicate effectively or to write in a good manner. So moving on towards today's topic, the lecture outline. So we are going to study about what is communication, the process of communication, the components of communication. What is communication? The communication is simply the act of transferring information from one place or person or group to another. It is defined by Oxford English Dictionary as the imparting or exchanging of information by speaking, writing, or using some other medium, the successful conveying or sharing of ideas and feelings. Here the keyword is successful conveying or sharing of ideas and feelings. The successful word here shows that the communication is not a simple task. It should be done in a successful manner so that the one who sends the message to someone and the person who receives the message would understand the purpose and then the intended meaning of the message sent by the sender. So the communication is a two-way process. It cannot be done by a single person. Like for example, if I am communicating, so I cannot involve just one person. So two persons are necessary for the communication process. Not two is a compulsion. There can be many people as well, like one person is communicating or giving message to many other people. So the process of communication. The successful communication is not a simple task. It requires a complete process to be done in a successful manner. So the three main components of the communication are basically the sender, the message, and the receiver. Like the sender sends some message to some receiver and the receiver receives the message. Now moving towards the components of communication. Talk about the components of communication. There are basically 6 main components of communication. The first one is the sender, or we can say the encoder. The second one is the message. The third one is the context. The fourth one is the medium. The fifth one is the receiver, or we can say the decoder. And the sixth one is the feedback. Okay, let's talk about the components one by one. The first one is the sender or the encoder. A person who sends the message is known as the sender, who actually sends the message. The person is called as the encoder because the process of encoding is involved in a way that the person turns his or her thoughts, ideas, into communication by verbal or non-verbal or written means. Like the process of encoding is involved because the person who sends the message encodes his or her thoughts that are in his minds through communication by verbal means, by speaking or by voice, giving voice to something, or non-verbal means any symbol or any signs, or by written means, or means writing any letter, any email or message or something through written medium. So let's take an example of this. For example, a company owner wants to hire employees for the new project, and he has to convey this message to the hiring manager of the company. Like, a company owner wants to hire employees for a new project. That project may be of anything about relating to marketing, related to IT. So the company owner needs the employees. So the company owner needs to send the message to the hiring manager that hire the employees according to the demands of the project. So this person is known as the sender. This is the main first component of the communication. So moving on towards the next component. The next component of the communication, the successful communication, is the message. The message is the key idea that the sender wants to communicate. It involves what you want to communicate and what piece of information should be included in the message. The message should be appropriate, defining the main objectives of the communication. Like, the message is basically the key idea, the basically thought which the sender has in his mind about something. Like, take the previous example, the owner of the company wants to hire the employees for a new project. So it's necessary for the owner to send the message to the hiring manager in a way that he should mention all the relevant details about the project, that actually we are making a marketing project, or we are making an IT project. For example, if the owner is going to develop a marketing project, so the relevant employees should be hired, like the people who have taken their degrees relevant to the marketing, or who have the relevant experience. So unless the owner has not mentioned the clear information, the hiring manager would not understand that what type of the project is and what type of employees that actually he is going to hire. So the message should be clear so that it conveys the proper information. The third very important component of the communication is the context. So what is context? The context refers to the setting in which communication takes place. The context helps establish meaning and can influence what is said and how it is said. There are basically four aspects of context, that is physical, cultural, social, psychological, and temporal. So we'll discuss these four aspects in detail so you will better understand about the context. So the first one is the physical context. So what is physical context? The physical context refers to the concrete environment. It basically refers to the location, the particular environment. It can be a school, a bank, a church, or a restaurant. The physical context basically refers to the locality, the location, that the communication is taking place at where. I mean the place, the location, the environment. Either the communication is taking place in a school, in the building of a school, either the communication is taking place at a restaurant, or either the communication is taking place at a church or any religious place. So this is basically termed as a physical context. So each atmosphere means that each location or each place has its own set of rules for how to communicate. Like every place, like every physical context, or we can say every location, has its own set of rules for communication. Like the way in which we communicate sitting in a restaurant, we cannot communicate this in the same way sitting in the classroom. there are different rules to communicate in the classroom or to communicate in the restaurant. So the example is the way a person can communicate in the surroundings of a restaurant is quite different from the communication in the church or any religious place. And so the second one is the cultural context. So what is cultural context? The cultural context refers to the values, beliefs, lifestyles, and behaviors of a group of people. Such instances will influence whether something is considered right or wrong by the people involved. The cultural context basically refers to the things or the values which are actually acceptable in any society or not acceptable by any society. For example, in Pakistani culture, it is considered bad to call the parents by their names. Like, for example, just suppose if some of your parents, some has it's his father's name as Abdullah, so he cannot say, hey Abdullah, how are you? It would be considered bad in Pakistani culture to call your parents by your names. Normally the people can call their parents by father, baba, and whatever. But in the American culture, the children can call their parents by their names, and it is considered absolutely fine. It is not considered wrong or bad. The children in the American culture can call their parents by their names. For example, if a child has his father's name David, so he can say, hey David, how are you? So there is nothing bad in calling the parents by their names in American culture. So for a successful communication to any person or a group of people, it is very necessary to keep in mind that what is acceptable and what is not acceptable in a particular place or a particular culture. Like, for example, if I am sitting in Pakistani culture in Pakistan, I can never take the names of my parents or someone else's parents, or and if I am sitting in American culture, I can definitely take the names of my parents or some other's parents because it is allowed in their culture, but not in our culture. So for successful communication, it's very necessary to keep in mind these things. The third one is social psychological context. The social psychological context involves the norms of the group in a particular situation, including the intimacy level among speakers, the relationship among speakers, and the formality of exchange. There are certain rules set regarding how to communicate with different people. So the social psychological context is basically about the relationship among the speakers in communication and their intimacy level and their level of formality. Like, we have two divisions, formal and informal communication. Okay, let's take an example, like the way a husband talks to his wife. He will never talk the same way to his boss. Or the conversation between husband and wife is quite different from the communication between boss and a worker. Because there is a formality level, there is the relationship between boss and worker is formal, whereas the relationship between husband and wife is informal. So there are quite different rules to talk, how to talk with the people having close relations or the people whom we have a formal relation. Like the way we talk to our friends, we can never talk the same way to our teachers. So in a successful communication, it is very necessary to keep in mind the intimacy level of yours with others, your relationship with the others, and your level of formality with others. Now moving next. The temporal context. The temporal context is the positioning of a message within a sequence of conversational events. It governs the mood of the conversation and how topics are to be addressed and related thereafter. The temporal context is basically about the mood of the conversation or the communication. Like, for example, if a person is fired from the job, he or she will tell it differently. He will never say, a person will never say, yay, I am being fired from the job. There is some element of sorrow in the communication. But when a person announces his marriage, the person may announce it with happily that, yay, I'm going to married, or I'm going to be in a relation. So there is a difference in the mood as well. We have to be careful about in communication that how to talk about according to the topics. If we are in a, for example, if we are in a funeral, we are attending a funeral, we cannot say anything that could create the laugh or the laughter element. In the same way, when we are talking about something, our achievements or our success, we'll definitely have the happy element in our conversation, in our communication. So the mood of communication is very necessary to keep in mind while conversating with some other person. So the next component is the medium. The component of communication is medium. So what is medium? Medium is a means used to exchange or transmit the message. It is the channel through which encoder will communicate his message. The medium of communication may be oral or written, that is through phone calls, letter, email, face-to-face communication, or message, etc. The sender must choose an appropriate medium to transmit the message. The medium is basically the way through which a person can communicate. For example, if a teacher has to communicate to his students to prepare a test or a quiz for the next lecture, so he will convey this message either through the message or through the email, or he can also say it by orally. Similarly, for example, consider the previous example that the owner of the company wants to hire employees for the new project, and he has to convey this message to the hiring manager. So the company owner may send this formally, in a formal way, through a letter or an email. So the choosing the appropriate medium to transmit the message is very much important. It must includes the proper channel to transmit the message. For example, like if a boss has to convey the message to his workers, or a worker wants to convey something formally into the boss, so the worker cannot just make a phone call and can convey the message. The worker has to convey the message through a proper medium, that is either through email, through a letter, or some else written medium. So the next component of the communication is the recipient, or we can say the decoder. The recipient or the decoder is a person who actually receives the message, or for whom the message is intended. The process of decoding is involved, as the receiver is expected to understand and decode the message correctly. Here, in the start, the sender is also termed as the encoder, who encodes the message, who encodes his or her thoughts for the receiver. So now here the receiver decodes the message, means the receiver understands what the sender wants to say. The last component of the communication is actually the feedback. So what is feedback? Feedback is the main component of communication process, as it permits the sender to analyze the efficacy of the message. It helps the sender in confirming the correct interpretation of message by the decoder. So what is the feedback? Feedback is very necessary for the successful communication, because with the feedback the sender will analyze his or her way of communication. Like for example, you might have heard in many channel or YouTube videos that please provide feedback to our video, or please give feedback to this. So the purpose is that either the one who wants to send the information, who wants to convey something, has conveyed the message successfully, or there are some loopholes in the message or in the understanding of the message. So feedback is very necessary. This is by part of the receiver. It's the duty of the receiver for successful communication to send the feedback to the sender, that what is actually the message, and he or she understands the message in a good way. So feedback may be verbal or non-verbal, or it may take the written form as well, in the form of reports, letters. So like for example, if someone has written a book and reads a book, okay, so he or she has to give a feedback. So he may write a letter to the author of that book. So the author is actually writing the book. This is actually the communication, actually giving the information for the receivers. Receivers may be many people. Who reads is the receiver. So the receivers can provide their feedbacks in the form of letters to authors, etc. So this is all about the communication process and how the communication process takes place. We have studied about what is communication, what are the important components of communication which are involved in the successful process of communication. So the process of communication takes place in a manner that the sender sends the message through an appropriate channel or medium to the receiver, and the recipient gets the intended message and provides feedback to the sender. So this is all about the first lecture. There are references. You can take guide from further from these references as well. These are the references. You can check it through the internet. And thank you. Allah Hafiz.